I was a cow again. I was standing knee-deep in a field of soft grass, waving the wind, and munching away while cars whizzed by on the highway. I had heard of people having the same dreams again, but this was the fourth time. Nothing weird ever happened in this dream, yet it felt important since it kept repeating itself. At breakfast, I told my parents, "Want to know a really weird dream I had? I dreamt I was a cow last night, but that's the fourth time that's happened." I laughed, hearing how silly it sounded when I said it. I had expected my parents to laugh too, but they shared a curious look. "What?" I asked. "Is something wrong?" My parents took a deep breath and said, "Nothing's wrong, but Ellie, there's something you should know about that dream." "What?" "It's not a dream." "Then what is it?" A blinding flash, and in front of me stood two cows, one with my dad's glasses skewed on his nose, the other with a blonde wig. By this point, I hope you realize that this is a fictional story. A weird cow turned FBI agent in a story part crazy, pun-filled joyride, part social commentary. A quiet yet meaningful conversation under a revealed night, revealing a budding romance and the phantoms we carry from the past. The end of the universe, an abandoned shoe, and a sibling rivalry that precedes time itself. These are the wondrous, wacky stories created by a group of high school writers in collaborative writing projects called Prose Trains. What I want to share with you today is how I discovered the power and profound joy of writing with others through Prose Trains like these. I started the Prose Train in February of 2021 as a way to bring together writers mentally during the physical isolation of COVID-19. My friend suggested that I start an anthology, a published collection of short stories solicited from writers across the nation, because she knew I loved creative writing. That's when I first hatched the idea of having students write one story together instead of submit stories separately. So the Posttrain engages 20 writers to each write 2 to 15 sentences in short stories that we call Posttrains. How does the process work? Writers indicate favorite prompts and dates they're unavailable to write on. Each writer then has one full day to add 12 to 15 sentences to the story wherever they like and may take the story in nearly any direction they wish. They layer lines, plot, and voice on top of other people's writing. And the sentence limit checks how drastically each writer can shape the story. After all writers have written, we publish a proofread story for public perusal, quoting each writer's name. Now, this is a framework we find through Prose Train after Prose Train, where stories have a satisfying ending and where writers have fun. It balances creative choice and freedom with limitations unique to this kind of collaborative storytelling. Within the structure of Prose Trains are challenges that encourage writers to flex their writing muscles, if you will. Writers are challenged to take the story in unexpected directions despite having no control over what's been written so far. So that's the first constraint. Others' choices in plot and character. Our 15-sentence limit further challenges writers to say a lot in a few sentences, and to affect the plot line within a limited sentence count. So that's the second constraint, the second sentence limit. There's also a third constraint, a time constraint. Writers only have one day to write, so with minimal planning, we encourage maximum creativity, thinking over the course of a day on how to most effectively continue the story. Of course, collaboration in writing comes with its own set of thorny challenges. With the twist each writer adds, stories may move at uneven paces, missing exposition or dropping off suddenly into the conclusion. Sometimes writers misconstrue others' writing, to the point where what they add no longer makes sense. Writers might miss their days to write, or might not communicate with other writers, resulting in a story shorter than intended. These are all problems the Prose Train team and I are working on solving, but at the end of the day, the focus is on not perfection, but progress. We're seeking to create not perfect stories, but rather ones that are compelling because they are bursting with creativity and inspiration and the voices of countless writers. The Posttrain is meant to be a writer's workout group, a practice field for writers try out new genres and new plot lines. Hence our slogan, train your prose. Writers are free to experiment without the pressure of inadequacy, grades, or ridicule. The most magical part of the process is indeed, for me, seeing stories develop in ways that are completely unexpected, something that only happens when writers mix together and are inspired by each other's various creative ideas. Even if the stories aren't perfect, they are always lovely and new. What started as a dream about a cow turned into a weird cow FBI agent vowing to bring down the agency from within, as from the excerpt from earlier from the Posttrain beef with the borough. When a man gets flattened on the street, he eventually receives an offer to join heck, a more forgiving version of hell, as from the Posttrain No Way in Hell. Past Prose Trains have included eccentric characters ranging from patient ordinary, a Doctor Strange from a parallel universe, to a witch's sister who only eats glue sticks. These are all ideas I could never have come up with on my own. And these ideas are possible because we've gathered together writers from radically different backgrounds, and they've each brought their unique life experiences and writing strengths to the story. Past writers have brought in their music expertise, their understanding of body image struggles, and their knowledge of Victorian England. As we grow to an international organization, writers get to see the writing and thinking processes of other writers across the country and across continents. Collaborative writing, because it's something that most writers have likely never tried, is filled with possibilities. And possibilities are a powerful catalyst. Perhaps writing with others will give participants the courage to share their own stories more widely. Perhaps it will give them the inspiration to start a new story, or the practice to end one. My hope is that each writer who participates not only learns from their fellow writers, but expands their perception of what writing can be. Most importantly, the power of collaborative writing is how it democratizes writing, taking a fiercely individual exercise and redefining it into a communal one. We break down barriers in location and skill level by prioritizing progress over perfection. We connect writers who would otherwise never have the chance to meet. Collaborative writing, at its core, is accessible to everyone. And it maintains and perhaps compounds the joy of creative writing. The consensus about this is clear based on feedback we received from past writers and our return rate. Around a third of writers come back to write again. Past writers have shared that they've loved delving into new genres with characters and plot lines they wouldn't typically tackle. They've enjoyed the novelty of the experience and the process of how different writers' ideas meld into one story. For some writers, collaborative writing has even rekindled their love of writing, since the minimal time commitment gives them a chance to continue writing creatively in the midst of busy high school lives. These new joys of writing, collaboration, surprise, inspiration, are why writers go in the first place and keep returning to write again. The wonder of a story fitting together in ways I could never have foreseen, the incredible creativity of writers. Collaborative writing is powerful, joyful, and worth experiencing. From my experience with the Prose Train, collaboration is a powerful tool when applied to processes it's not often applied to. The power of collaboration is a trend reflected across countless other fields of life, from academia to science to medicine to manufacturing. New generations take up the work of previous ones, adding their own ideas to come up with something better, something more creative and more impactful. So even if you're not enthusiastic about writing, collaboration opens up so many avenues for a more meaningful, fruitful exchange of ideas. One way to invite other people's creativity is simply by sharing your own hobbies and endeavors with them. Make it a priority, not an afterthought, to solicit other people's feedback and opinions. The more heads you can bring to the table, the more likely you'll encounter ideas that can vastly improve your own work. So collaboration brings people together, and it also brings more people in by lowering the barrier for entry and increasing access. Yes, it can pose frustrating challenges when miscommunication or dropping the ball happens, but if what you keep in mind is constant improvement rather than one-time perfection, You'll generate a whole collection of ideas that can later be reapplied or refined. Other people have the potential to take your idea and shape it into one that shows you countless more possibilities. So let them. Bring collaboration into areas of your life you hadn't previously considered. Give others' creativity a chance to spark your own. Thank you.